Greetings and welcome to the Prime Directive. I'm your host, Jefficho. My co-host is always Chris. Say hi, Chris.
Hello.
So, Star Trek First Contact, finally getting to it.
Oh, yeah, definitely one of the movies I've been looking forward to. I think as far as the TNG movies go, like we've been enjoying them, going back for them, but this is the movie that I think most people, this most well-regarded TNG movie among fans, I'd have to say.
Yeah, definitely. It's straight to the point.
Mm-hmm.
Get some action hero Picard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is probably where he really stepped out as an action hero, though I was just watching the Variant Sweep episode the other day.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the same diehard Picard we get to see from that one.
Sure, it's a fascinating experience, but perhaps you should deactivate your emotion chip for now.
Good idea, sir. Done.
Data, there are times that I envy you.
This movie starts out with some creepy Borg beginnings, which is great. This movie just jumps straight into it. We don't even get to spend any time with the ship.
No, and just going through this again, you always notice different things every time you watch an episode or a movie of Star Trek. And for this one, I was like, oh, that's what they were going for, probably with that like huge zoom out reveal. Oh, it just keeps going of the Borg cube in Picard. It was getting, sort of the same sense.
Yeah, speaking of the Picard series, Chris,
Mm-hmm.
Picard's character made sense in this one. We've had stuff where he went home, dealt with his issues. So it really, they did it really well in this one. Like it actually motivated him more to the point where he's like, almost too much. Where he's like, I'm gonna take out the Borg.
Yeah.
But then he like reverts back to afraid, which didn't make sense to me in the Picard series.
This movie did have sort of some of the beginnings of the end where we don't get the calm, thoughtful, moral paragon Picard that we sort of like to see. But at the same time, the Borg, like this is an extremely serious trauma that Picard's gone through, through the best of both worlds. And that's, I think, what those episodes were talking about was like serious trauma that's been inflicted on someone. And even with your future space counselor and your future space high post phrase, like these serious psychological scars, that's not and future space drinking, that's not something that you can expect to just completely disappear. Sometimes people can work through these things and come out pretty much the way they used to be, but I don't think it's entirely fair to expect Picard to be unaffected by what he went through.
Let go! Let go!
He gets a call, which he kind of sensed. Actually, we do get that jump scare. Is that probably the best Trek jump scare with a little Borg implant coming out?
Oh, I want to say we've had some good jump scares in this show. Nothing's immediately coming to me, but yeah, it was a good one.
He gets a call that the Borg are arriving. He's like, I know, I sense it. Do you think that he senses it because the Borg Queen's involved? Maybe.
I'm trying to remember if in Best of Both Worlds, I don't think we actually got everything out of him. I think there was some stuff that Crusher couldn't quite get at or something like that. And so I guess he actually can pick up Borg signals to a degree, or at least it wouldn't be weird. Like I wouldn't look at that funny if he could. He'd be like, yeah, there's some stuff in there. Yeah, all right.
Sometimes like when your ex-girlfriend's behind you, you can sense it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
How do you feel?
Almost human. With just a bit of a headache.
We'll get you to sickbay. We won't have any trouble getting those implants out now.
They want him to sit on the sidelines. We get a little Riker and Picard like just shoot the shit chat and be like sarcastically like, oh yeah, I guess the Federation doesn't need the flagship.
Another sweep of the neutral zone. Oh. Yeah, the bridge is so much more casual by the time we've reached this point than
like
Picard. Remember season 1 and 2?
Yeah. Picard just blaring music in his little study.
I kind of liked that.
Oh, I love
Riker just like teleports behind him. He's like, I'm here now.
What are we listening to? Yeah, and then we get the little audio of the Borg attack. Just kind of like, almost listening to Wolf 359 again. Wolf 359 again.
Yes.
It's very haunting. It's just like, everything's going really badly. Really badly, guys.
Yeah, we're all dying. Woof. This was a mistake.
Reinforcement.
Casualty reports coming in. 96 dead.
Lieutenant Hawk, set a course for Earth.
Aye, sir.
Maximum warp.
Yeah, so Picard's like, fuck it, and they head there, and we get
Apparently it takes them like 2 minutes to get, they were like 2 minutes out, yeah.
We don't want you to go, guys, but if you do, like, get there fast. Maybe we didn't see it, they turned into lizards and then turned back.
They fixed it. They do have the EMH. They can fix lizards.
Data wouldn't turn into a lizard.
Yeah.
How many times has he restored the entire crew? Come on, Chris.
Once or twice.
Yeah, we get the best space battle. It's a little too short for my taste, but
yeah, it's over pretty quick by the time they rolled up, or at least on screen it was short.
Yeah,
like maybe it did take them a day to get there.
Well, then I gotta say Starfleet was doing pretty good if it took a day. Be like, we're still going. We're still going, guys.
Still going.
It was all Worf and his little ship. Yeah, this was the first time we get a little DS9 crossover, which gave us hope that eventually we would get a pass of the baton from TNG to DS9.
There's a couple instances or at least we're still in the area of Star Trek right now where we're sort of afraid of previous Star Trek or just other Star Trek. It's like we can't trust the audience to know what DS9 is. Because why is it that in this scenario where we're fighting the Borg, which the Defiant was explicitly designed to do, that the only person from DS9 on the ship is Worf, right? Like, I understand from like a narrative perspective why you don't want to jam this entire crew into the movie that's not about them, but it makes no goddamn sense that it's only Worf.
Yeah, well, they could have done O'Brien because TNG knows O'Brien.
Yeah, they could have had O'Brien too.
O'Brien says he's going to have your ship fixed in no time. Yeah, just like the chief. Him and the lower decks crew just working on it.
Yeah.
Probably disappoints Sean because like we never handed it off to DS9. The Never Voyager movie, never got that. So Sean's probably at home just crying about that. Yeah, we got to see some sweet ships. The Akira class, which is like the upside down Enterprise. Picard knows where to shoot, destroys the Borg ship.
Easy peasy. I feel like concentrate all your fire on a spot should have been something they tried. Like maybe not that particular spot, but that's got to be a better strategy than just throwing shit at the wall.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you shoot all around the Borg cube, it gives them time to regenerate. But just shoot at the one spot, guys. We get to see a Borg sphere, Chris. Right
Borg
out.
Sphere. Yeah.
Those can travel through time.
They can. Okay, so I like this movie. I like the story they tell. As is usual with time travel in Star Trek, it raises more questions than anything else. So if the Borg can apparently just press the time travel button, why have they never done it before? Why did they never do it again? Why didn't they do it before they left and avoid the fleet in its entirety?
Yeah, they didn't even go around
those
the sun.
are my questions.
They didn't even go around the sun. They just went straight at Earth.
They just have a time travel button.
Yeah.
So why don't they just press that and go back to like the beginnings of life in the universe just assimilate the universe?
I do like what this says though. If like if they don't take the Federation out, then everybody's gonna be fucked. So why don't they ever go after the Klingons and the Romulans? Romulans are easy prey. They're always losing. Every time we see them now.
Well, they did go after the Romulans a little bit, and that's how Picard happened. You know, that sphere got wrecked too.
Yeah. So yeah, they fall back through time. We get to see the Earth kind of become a different atmosphere and some Borg colonies building.
Extra global warming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should have seen the weather today here. They blow it up. 4 quantum torpedoes pretty quickly.
Easy peasy. Yeah, they're the spheres are cool looking, but they are not sturdy.
Not shielded at all.
Mr. Worf, quantum torpedoes.
Ready, sir.
Fire.
The sphere is shooting on Earth at the compound there with Zefram Cochrane. It's not doing any damage. Like the tiny little explosions.
You'd really expect these kind of torpedoes. This sort of is a weird comparison to make, but those are so much worse than nukes. And like nukes are a super primitive technology for Star Trek, but they're just like, you know, kaboom! They'll take out your house. I can't imagine that is any threat at all to a starship.
Yeah, I mean the Dominion took out that planet just by everybody firing on it. So
yeah, right. Like the Enterprise and stuff is supposed to be able to glass planets by itself. Like that's a pretty normal thing for a starship to be able to do, apparently.
Maybe because it was just a little Borg sphere.
Just a little sphere. I'm a little Borg sphere, sure, doubt.
So Picard realizes it's first contact day coming up soon. He beams down Beverly Data, a couple of extras, and they go down to the Phoenix and get shot at by Lily. We see Data can take some bullets.
Yes, Data is very he's not always at the same durability. Sometimes you can pierce him with an arrow, sometimes he's bulletproof, you know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
They just watched Terminator and they're just like, yeah, he won't even be phased.
It was cool though.
I believe I can handle this. Greetings.
We get to see Zefram Cochrane. We get some interesting Troy counselor techniques.
Yes, this is. I think when we were at Vegas, I remember the actress talking about this scene, and I think she's kind of sick of talking about it because it's all anyone did. I don't know. This is just like the most famous Troy scene. They're getting drunk on tequila.
Yeah, I think she was saying like, "You're actually funny, Deanna. Like you can be funny." And then she's like, "Yeah, I get jokes after that."
My counseling technique.
Don't go criticizing them. Picard senses shit going upstairs in the Enterprise. There, we get a little creepy scene of like just people going through the Jeffries tubes, and they're like, "What happened to that guy? I guess I'll go look."
This was a really minor thing, but they were talking about how like the temperature had gone up and the environmental controls were messy, and like the actors were just very slightly sweaty, right? Like someone went in and just like lightly misted the actors before their scene because they're like, "It's warm in here. You're slightly sweaty. Here, you have to have some mist." Things that go into making.
Brian had the shirt off. He had the gray shirt that was covered in sweat. Like you knew when O'Brien and Julian were sweating.
Is there anyone else working maintenance in this section?
Not that I know of. Paul?
So Borg start taking over the ship. Picard heads back up with Data, and they go around searching for people. We get a little invasion in medical. We get the EMH show up. That was sweet.
Yes, our first. That's got to be our first cameo from. Second cameo from other Star Trek. Because I'll count the Defiant as a DS9 cameo. So there's Ethan Phillips, of course, Neelix on Voyager.
Yeah, shows up in the Dixon Hill.
Whenever we get these cross-series references, I'm always like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's just pointing at the TV. I'm like, ah!
We even get a little reference of Bones or whatever. It's just like, I'm a doctor, not a doorstop.
There's her TOS reference.
Yeah. Lily decides to go in a different direction as they try to go through the little tunnels and escape. Runs into Picard, holds a phaser, that was set to kill on him.
Yeah.
It was her first
level
ray
16
gun.
wide beam.
Yeah, first ray gun.
Yeah.
He points out Earth to her. Be like, Montana's coming up, but you better hold your breath.
Once we get to this point, Lily just takes everything so incredibly well. Like, she's a little confused and there's a little screaming, but she's just, after this point, she's just chill. She's like, oh, it's the magic fantasy room where they're having a ball. Sure, why not? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, they
We
go
already
into the
got
holodeck.
Swedish space zombies.
I mean, I might have skipped over Data getting kidnapped by the Borg, but whatever.
He does that.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he gets kidnapped.
He gets kidnapped. You get to see the Borg Queen. She's very flirtatious. Great entrance.
Was that good for you?
I forgot how much, like, they took this character. It's like, we're gonna have a Borg Queen, and then I'm like, okay, and she's going to be sexy. This is going to be a femme fatale zombie cyborg, and it doesn't work.
Hey,
like, I understand why they toned that down for Voyager.
It doesn't work for everybody else.
It's just super weird.
Don't do it
and
for me, but it's out there.
Like, from scene 1, she's just like, the director, this was Frakes. Yeah, Frakes just like, say that line again, but sexy. Yeah, just say that line, sexy.
Hell yeah, you did. Yeah, I do love. I was so excited when Picard goes like, "Oh, we're gonna, piss off these Borg and run the holodeck." And it's like Dixon Hill. It's like, yes, and it's just like the whole sequence of like, "Oh, we're gonna dance," and shit, we're at the wrong day. Computer fast forwarded to this because I got to get a Tommy gun. Why didn't you just get it?
And again, Lily's just great. Yeah, exactly. So this is another one of those things. Like, if you're going to go on the holodeck and get a weapon, like, that makes sense. That works. Okay, I don't know how Borg shields would interact with holodeck shit, but whatever. But if you're going to do that, then you should just be doing the scene from The Matrix. It's like, we're going to need guns.
Yeah.
Lots of guns, or at least like holodeck yourself a cage and like lock them in or something. Yeah, you don't need to go through the whole song and dance, literally.
Well, it was our last Dixon Hill reference.
And it was a gorgeous scene. Yeah. Like, it looked great and it was fun, but it did. Why?
Ruby, this is not a good time.
It's never the time for us, is it, Dix? Always some excuse.
Data gets a little bit of flesh, some goosebumps. His emotional chip gets turned back on. And of course, he's fully functional. They remind us of that.
Again, when you give him flesh, can you do it sexy? Just like, ugh.
I know what I'm going to get Cassandra to cosplay as.
Oh, lordy.
Do the Borg Queen. Chris loves it. Chris, you're all astronauts in some sort of Star Trek. It might cringe a bit, but that's the first time they mentioned Star Trek in Star Trek.
It's a bit cringe. Although Q did say they were on a trek through the stars. There's so many quotable lines in this movie. And it equals, like, this is a much better movie. But the lines are quotable in that way. Like, it's just, you're all astronauts on some kind of Star Trek. Like, there's got to be a prequel memes kind of thing going on here.
I'm not detecting any leak.
Reports of my assimilation were greatly exaggerated. Yeah. Everything's a quotable line in this movie.
This line no further. Yeah, constant quotable lines.
Oh, yeah.
I regret some of the things I said to you, Chris.
Broke your little ships.
We never got a cool, like, hey, Locutus bro moment in this one. I guess they didn't respect him. I guess Borg didn't talk yet, really. They only talked in one voice. We get to see Barclay down on the planet. Thank God. Needed some Barclay.
Having a little fanboy thing. Yeah.
Where's my Barkley series, Chris? Was Voyager all I'm gonna get?
Yeah, Barkley had a lot of episodes in Voyager. They just kept going back to that guy.
Because they knew. This guy's gold. Yeah. He slept with a Dabo girl who stole his information.
The last time I saw you, you were laughing, telling jokes. You even sang a duet with Data.
That was Commander La Forge's birthday party.
We get a few moments where Zefram Cochrane's trying to run away, doesn't want to deal with this pressure. There's a lot of pressure when you're told, hey, you're going to be this big historical thing.
I like how they beamed down there and just did not give a shit about the Temporal Prime Directive. They're just like, yeah, I went to high school with Zefram Cochrane, and here's some quotes you're going to have in the future. Just a reminder of that. Here's where your statue is going to be. You're looking up the stars.
I went to Zefram Cochrane High School.
Yeah. He doesn't need to know this shit. He doesn't need to know you're from the future.
I don't know, Chris. I think they put a lot of thought in it too, because they all wore outfits for that time period.
Yeah, actually, why not just be down in your uniform?
I think they were all better dressed than everybody there.
Yeah, right. Like rip some holes in it.
I mean, we only saw people at the bar, but
yeah.
Picard says, "Hey, we gotta stop this deflector dish because it's gonna send out a signal. Bring the Borg to in the Borg in this time or whatever. Bring them here early. Again, time." So him and Hawk and Worf go out. Hawk, cool name.
Cool name.
Yeah, I'm very confused when Hawk gets assimilated, and they put his helmet back on and send him out there to deal with them. Like, we don't see that. It's just assimilated. You're a Borg now. Go attack them.
Yeah.
I mean, we were seeing other people get prepped. It's like it reminds me of Alien versus Predator, where every Alien movie, we know that the thing goes on your face for like 2 days, and then like a day or two later, when you're fine again, it comes out of your chest. Alien versus Predator, face, chest, 5 minutes. Like just speed it up.
Turnaround.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do manage to destroy the deflector dish with assimilate this.
Warning. Decompression in 45 seconds.
Super cheesy line.
Yeah. Oh, Worf's got to have one-liners. He brought his little dagger knife. Is that regulation? Are you supposed to be carrying that around?
I never understood how Worf got away with the sash.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ro got away with the airing. Not right away, but once she completed the mission. Riker and Geordi are going to help Cochrane. They're going to head on up.
I built this ship so that I could retire to some tropical island filled with naked women. That's Zefram Cochrane. That's his vision.
Sadly, he has to grow a mustache and show up for the Enterprise pilot and tell them about his dream.
Money.
My dream was always this.
Money.
I actually heard he wanted to retire on an island.
He can. Why not both?
Yeah. Worf wants to destroy the ship because he's like, it's lost. And Picard's just like, I just fucking got this ship.
Yeah.
Not losing it.
It's brand new. It's still got that new ship smell.
It's like 10 times the size of your little ship.
Oof.
It would take that much longer to build it again. Actually, they would just steal it, like the Defiant. They'll just steal another like Sovereign class and throw the name on it, because that's not the first Defiant.
Yeah, right. I really did like Worf's line. If you were any other man, I would kill you where you stand. And I completely believe that. Like literally any other person in the universe, Worf would have just chopped in half. But that's how much he respects Picard, and I think that's correct. I believe that for those characters.
He got pretty cocky in DS9. Like he brought some of his DS9 character with him, not just like, hey, I'm Worf from TNG, remember me. This is like, I'm Worf who's actually like served with Klingons and had to like kill people and do all this shit.
I must object to this course of action.
The objection is noted.
With all due respect, sir, I believe you are allowing your personal experience with the Borg to influence your judgment.
You want to destroy the ship and run away, you coward.
So Picard's like, no, you coward.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
we ain't giving up my ship. And then so Lily has to go in and reason with him. That's where we get a shit ton of quotable lines with Moby Dick in that. Broke your little ships.
We learn about where the line must be drawn.
Yeah, right here. No further.
No, this far.
And then she quotes a line, which is great. Like, she quotes a line from a book she's never read, which is just like, it's like the internet.
I mean,
today.
I've never read Moby Dick.
Yeah, I bought it. I have it in my collection. My buddy tried reading it, and he said it was boring as.
I mean, yeah. My experience with a lot of old novels like that is, I can't do it, man.
Yeah. Well, he didn't give me a glowing recommendation, so I didn't try.
Yeah, I think. God, what's the oldest book I've read? Fahrenheit 451. I read that 1984. That was good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Past a certain point, I think just the writing style doesn't work.
Catch 22. Dune.
Okay.
And he piled upon the whale's white hump the sum of all the rage and hate felt by his whole race. If his chest had been a cannon, he would have shot his heart upon it.
I do like that literature, though, the thing that brought him back from, like, going over the edge.
Yes, we still do. We still remember our characters' roots, and that's it's a little bit easy, but that is the kind of thing that should bring Picard around.
Yeah, there's no arguing here with the director and being like, no, Picard would never do this. Like, they both understand what Picard would do. Where like 10, it's just like, no, Picard would never do this. He's like, I don't care, shoot it. So he decides that he's going to activate the self-destruct, but they don't have Riker on board, so who's going to wholeheartedly stop it?
Yes. I don't know why that always stands out to me. It's like, yes, I do agree fully and wholeheartedly.
A simple yes would have sufficed, number one.
Yeah.
I think because, I don't know, it was great.
Yeah.
So much great TNG, man.
Just a little silly, and it kind of makes sense, too.
Yeah.
Abort. Auto-destruct sequence.
Riker William T., do you concur?
Yes, absolutely. I do indeed concur wholeheartedly.
Auto-destruct. Cancelled.
Simple yes would have sufficed, number one.
They're going to go down on the planet with their little escape pods and hope that history doesn't notice them.
They do a good job collecting all those at the end, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, I kind of wonder how that process was.
Yeah, where was Riker was gonna go to like North America. He's told to hide in North America, and they were gonna go to grab it, which is like a made-up location near the French Peninsula. So they would have been separated, never got to hang out again, because the world was in disarray.
I mean, there might be some kind of Zoom.
Yeah, well, I think we still would have ended up with Mrs. Troy, because they would have been just hanging out.
Yeah.
Can't date somebody else, might affect the timeline. What do you do with Worf?
You just gotta hide him.
Disintegrate him when he dies.
Yeah, sorry, Worf.
Yeah, Data, you're
sorry, half our crew members that aren't human. Right? Actually, yeah. I haven't thought about that till right now, but like so much of the Enterprise's crew some of those people are blue.
Yeah.
Some of those people are blue.
We're just gonna hide out. We'll be fine.
Okay.
It's a skin condition.
Yeah.
I'll wear a toque over my ears. It's good.
It's fine.
Work for Spock.
We're not going to have any difficulty explaining.
Well?
He was saying you'll have no trouble explaining it.
My friend is obviously Chinese.
Riker and Geordi are listening to Magic Carpet Ride as they're heading on up. The Enterprise fires at them 4 quantum torpedoes or something like that. They're giving us a send-off. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Picard goes to save Data, runs into his ex. It's very awkward because they had an abusive relationship. And Data had ignored the bro code because he was hooking up with her. Yeah, we learned Picard never gave himself willingly. That's why Locutus was a spokesperson, pretty much a drone, not a willing individual. And then Data deactivates the self-destruct, but after he fires the torpedoes, he's just like, haha, resistance is futile.
Yeah, get scammed.
Yeah. And then he ruptures that cooling tank, which wipes out all organic material, of which, why is that in there? That is not a safe
I mean,
thing.
there's all kinds of, high energy, nasty stuff going around in a warp core, maybe.
Yeah. What if
Maybe
there's
use a safer coolant though. It's
this
just a
little
coolant.
tiny leak, and it's just like the
Yeah.
one guy stuck repairing that, just like dies.
I accidentally breathed.
Yeah, it ate all my organic material.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wasn't detecting a leak.
Got to show off those arms.
Yeah, action hero
Yeah.
Picard working out. He was buff. Data pulls his girlfriend into the green mist, where she pretty much gets killed, and then Picard finds her all helpless and snaps her spine.
And she's a load-bearing boss, apparently. Apparently, killing the Borg Queen kills all the other Borg.
Yeah.
Okay.
On that ship,
maybe,
even though that never really was a thing before. And it's just like, I was always there.
Yeah, and there are many copies of her.
Yeah.
Like I assume these Borg aren't completely cut off from the rest of the Borg that exist in the past.
Well, I mean, they needed to send a signal.
And why aren't the Borg using this time travel technology to go to the past and give earlier versions of the Borg their current level of technology? And it just okay.
You mean, of course, the Enterprise Borg that actually get lost during this movie?
Yes.
Because those were our earliest Borg, Chris. If you don't count whatever Discovery was doing with their nanite things, which seemed more advanced than the Borg. Don't do prequels. It screws everything up. The crew is so much closer in these movies. The Vulcans show up and they meet Cochrane. Enterprise heads home, and I gotta say the Vulcans are pretty trusting. It's just like no phone call. They just show up at this alien planet. They're like, "Hi."
Yeah. Like, what if this was Mirror Earth and they just get shotgunned?
Yeah. Well, why do you think Vulcans were the slaves of the Terrans in their universe?
How often do you think that happens?
Yeah, we saw that you had warp, so we thought we'd come by, see what you had.
Come visit. Pow.
Yeah. Bad idea. Should have, had some prime directive or something. That's why the Vulcans need the Federation, Chris, because they were just like, yeah, we had a war with the Klingons. Yeah, it's because we showed up at their doorstep one day.
Yeah, they didn't like that.
Yeah.
They didn't like that at all.
They're really from another world. And they're going to want to meet the man that flew that warp ship.
I bring you love.
It's bringing love. Don't let it get away.
Break its legs.
That's the movie, Chris. What'd you think?
Mm-hmm.
Got any final thoughts? Got any overall
Lots
thoughts?
of fun. Lots of fun. I always enjoy watching this movie. And I don't know why the plot holes don't bug me as plot holes as much as they might in other films. I guess there's a plot hole versus enjoyableness graph, and as long as you're so enjoyable, then you can have this many plot issues and it just doesn't matter. And I think this movie's fun enough and interesting enough that things like Picard just casually going, "Please calibrate the deflector to bring us back home, Mr. La Forge." It's just, what?
Geordi knows how to travel through time. He just knows.
We can just do this?
Best engineer.
All right. Whatever. Fine. But stuff like that. Yeah, this movie's a great time. It gets referenced a lot. I really like the Enterprise episode that sort of continues off of this. I like seeing the Defiant and that sort of thing. I always like seeing the Borg. I love me some Borg.
Captain! Help! Please! Help!
Is this movie introducing the Borg Queen?
Yeah.
I think this is her first appearance.
Yeah.
I think I've mentioned this before.
Their costumes were they had the LED lights and stuff before. It was kind of black leather.
Mm-hmm. I think I've mentioned this before, but I do have an issue with the Borg Queen. I love the Borg so much more as just this force of nature thing. Like at some point, somebody programmed some nanites slightly wrong, And since then they've just been executing this code, and it's not this computer code, and it's not a living being that you can negotiate with. It's just at some level it's if X then Y, and it's like a hurricane or something like that, or locusts, and you can't interact with it. And then here comes this Borg queen that's like a conscious entity that you can negotiate with, or something that's actually directing this thing. It's a lot less scary.
Well, Janeway negotiated with the Borg.
She did negotiate with the Borg, and it was kind of cool. But like, you shouldn't be able to do that.
I agree, but we got a good deal out of it. We got 7.
We did get 7.
Please state the nature of the medical emergency.
20 Borg are about to break through that door. We need time to get out of here. Create a diversion.
This isn't part of my program. I'm a doctor, not a doorstop.
One thing that I would have been a lot more happy with if they were going to do this, and again, this is something I think I've mentioned before, but if we had the Borg Queen being, the Borg always adapt, and when you reintroduced Hugh and his sense of individuality into the collective, it kind of broke us. We saw that in Descent, and this is how the Borg adapted. They took that individuality, and it just got crammed into this Borg Queen. And so she can direct the collective and have that assimilated individuality that they couldn't get out of their system, but the rest of the collective can operate how it's supposed to, and she can just, sort of give commands to it. But instead they went with, "Oh, I've always been here. You just forgot." No,
that
we did not just really forget.
That actually sounds pretty smart there.
So that's my rewrite that I want for this movie. But yeah, I think this is the fandom's favorite TNG film, and I think it's probably my favorite TNG film.
It's hard to
It's
argue.
a great movie to, it's a great movie to watch.
I mean, Nemesis had its shortcomings, and as we already said in our Insurrection, great Star Trek episode.
Yeah, I enjoyed Nemesis rewatching it more than I thought I was going to, but yes, it has its issues.
It's almost more fun now that we know Tom Hardy better now.
Yeah.
As far as first contacts go, I now understand why the Vulcans were dick to people in Enterprise. Dance the hoobie doobie and drink this. We're very civilized. We just did warp. Hey guys, why can't we go out to space? 100 years ago.
Got to be the biggest mess of a civilization that somehow cobbled together a warp drive.
Yeah.
That the Vulcans have ever seen. They probably expected us to have cities, but instead they got a bunch of dirty hobos in the middle of Montana that have a warp drive.
So yeah, Zephyr Cochrane makes a warp drive in this after World War III dilapidated fucking Earth. Where is he expecting to get paid? Who's he going to sell it to? The Alliance?
This is I'm assuming this is kind of like a research colony outpost. All these people are mostly people that work for him. I guess
they just seem like trunks at a tavern.
Yeah,
Vagrants.
Right. These are very dirty people if they actually have jobs. So I don't know.
Good night, Eddie. Go home.
You're gonna regret this tomorrow.
One of the things you should have learned about me by now is that I don't have regrets.
Zephyr Cochrane's got a grant from somewhere, but no, he doesn't have a grant from somewhere. It took Lily months to scrounge up a bunch of where'd he get antimatter? Okay, more issues, more plot holes, but whatever. Yeah. Where did you get antimatter?
This was definitely one of the best TNGs, of course. One of the best Star Treks. I mean, it's definitely in everybody's top 5.
If you're looking for my professional opinion as ship's counselor, he's nuts.
I'll be sure to note that in my log.
Yeah, I love we got a bit more campiness in this, which was nice. Everybody was still a bit too nervous from that last one. Where it's just oh yeah, we're in a movie now, but we're still kind of the TV show because we're filming it right after the TV show. Where this one's just good to see you guys again. Let's have some fun. Let's why don't we get Troy drunk? Data, you be goofy.
Yeah, and it's the whole crew is so much of a family behind the scenes. They're all friends and they all know each other and like working with each other. And I bet having Frakes direct really added to that sort of atmosphere of just fun for the movie. You know, these are all just a bunch of people that work really well together, having a good time.
Yeah. And you know, they probably just looked at past Treks and been like, well, what was the best Star Trek? Star Trek V, where everybody was very campy and all just hanging out. So we should add a bit of that. We're gonna
okay,
get there,
couple more of these, and then we'll talk about Star Trek V, Jeff. That's going to be one of our longer reviews, one of our louder reviews.
I look forward to that day.
Oh, me too.
Well, as always, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Mm-hmm.